You're tuned in to The Keitra Show and listening to SOB, Style of Business, the podcast with your host, Keitra. We aim to highlight the ongoing trek of entrepreneurs and business owners from around the globe, featuring stories that recount their struggles, experiences, and inevitable road to success and self-fulfillment. Welcome to SOB.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Thanks for tuning in for another fantastic episode, this latest episode of SOB Style of Business. This is Keitra once again, and I am speaking with a fantabulous gentleman by the name of Simone Vincenzi. Yeah, boy, got you in the house. All right, we are speaking to Simone Vincenzi, the co-founder of GTEX, and just a fantastic person and individual. He's doing some great things in his industry in personal development and coaching and speaking and just doing some great things. So definitely wanted to have him come on. He's going to be sharing some ideas with us and just kind of helping us in the personal development realm because we all need it. And that's what he's here for. So let us welcome Simone. How are you doing?
I'm really happy to be here right now, Keitra. Thank you very much for inviting me on this show.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for being so available because I know you're busy. I know you're doing tons of podcasts each week. So we're definitely happy to have you on. And if you will, please go ahead and give us a background and let's get rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Simone Vincenzi, and I'm the co-founder of a company called GTEX, and we turn experts into authorities, in particular using the power of live events. I absolutely love speaking on stage. I absolutely love live events. It always made me feel very alive, and we help other people do the same. And I started in business about 9 years ago. When I was 8 years ago, when I was 22, and it's been a hell of a roller coaster.
I can imagine.
To get to this point, a hell of a roller coaster. A fun, exciting journey full of highs and lows, and figuring out what things work, what things don't work, and keep doing more of the things that work and less of the things that don't work.
I totally get that, and I understand, and I know, I know for a fact that you love speaking on stage because you were given, I was checking out one of your interviews and you, not one of your interviews, but one of your engagements, and you were doing an introduction. I forgot the name of the gentleman that you had on stage, but even the introduction, I was like, damn, that I kind of felt like I was there. I felt like I was in the room.
One with Trent Shelton, if he's on the website, they were old Les Brown or Trent Shelton.
I think. Yeah. And I don't know. I felt like you were introducing me because that's how personal, like the way that you just kind of, you had the fun, you had the enthusiasm, and of course the positivity, and the way that you brought that gentleman on stage. I mean, I could have easily walked up there with, with him, and I'm in a whole different, area. So that was perfect. And we appreciate that. And that is why we wanted to definitely have you on. So let's talk a bit about GTEX. I know you have given us just a quick scope of what you've been doing as far as your experience and things like that. But talk to us a bit about how you started, when you begin to get into the personal development space and speaking and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was when I was 22 years old, and my background was in the catering industry. So I used to manage Michelin-star restaurant since the age of 19, and I was pretty successful in that career from a young age because I loved it. And also I stopped going to school.
Yeah.
So I could work more. My mom wasn't happy, as you can imagine, but that was my journey. And when I was 22, I had my first midlife crisis, and some people might be laughing at this or saying that how dare you think you have a midlife crisis at the age of 22. But by the age of 22, I already worked almost full time for 8 years in the catering industry, and that was my career. And I reached the top of what I could achieve, which was managing Michelin-star restaurant.
Yeah.
The next step was to be able to manage a chain of restaurants, but a lot of companies and large organizations required a degree or a diploma in management, which is something I never had. I always learned everything on the field. So I was in a moment where I was like, I want to change what I'm doing because it doesn't excite me anymore. I wasn't miserable. I was still enjoying it, but the spark and the passion was gone. And I said, okay, what else can I point, I had no clue, because it's like, okay, no qualifications. The only thing I can do is make people smile and carry dishes,
Exactly.
and managing restaurants. So I started attending different seminars. Because a friend of mine said, okay, why don't you read some blogs, watch some videos, attend the seminars, they might help you out. And I said, okay, why not? And I started spending my weekends attending seminars. And I found that I became addicted to these seminars, and I was learning things about myself that I never knew, and I was learning things about the world and the human mind and how it works and the coaching and psychology side. And it was completely new to me. And for me, it was a huge awakening. So I was spending every single awakened hours that I had on reading books and listening to podcasts like yours, and learning about becoming a better human being and finding my purpose in life. And at a certain point, I said, you know what? Some people more people in my network need to know about this. And I had the idea one day when I was at the seminar, and I said, well, you know what? That's what I want to do. I want to teach those stuff.
Yeah.
I want to do that. I want to be the speaker that is there on the stage. And I didn't have a bloody clue about what I was doing. So I decided to enroll in a course, and I got my diploma in life coaching and youth coaching. And I realized very early that no one wanted to work with a 22-year-old life coach.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I cannot blame them. It's like, okay, you're 22. What are you going to teach me about life?
Exactly, right?
And so I said, okay, well, where can I start? And a friend of mine gave me a contact to work with an organization with young people. And I always loved working with young people. It's something I was doing as a teenager as well. I was teaching catechism at the children when I was 12, 13 years old. And I said, okay, well, I like working with young people, so let's see if some schools want me in. And so at that point, I started working with different organizations. And I found myself that at a certain point, I was speaking in 100 to 150 schools every single year. And it was brilliant. That was my very first training. And at the same time, while I was speaking in schools, I met a crazy guy with the name of Ben Shorter at one event, and we immediately clicked. And we kept coaching each other for a few years just to understand the coaching skills and understand how this works, and because we were both positioning at that time. And one day I got a venue for free in a farm. We're in a farm, and I got this venue for free. And I said, Ben, what can we do? And so we started organizing these events, and that's how we started our company. We were getting speakers and getting the people that we met while attending the seminars to a new audience because we wanted to give them more exposure. And that's how GTEX started. Unfortunately, we didn't know anything about running events as well. Mm-hmm. So the first event, we had about 4 people coming in.
Well, better than 0.
Yeah. 2 were the speakers. 2
oh, wow.
4 people were the speakers. One was my business partner's father.
Family, right?
Was the only person who actually came along, which he chained at the chair, saying, no, you're not going to move from here. and that's how it all started.
That is phenomenal. One thing I want to say, that's why you're able to depend on family, for things like that when you're throwing events and you need some bodies to fill the seats. So that's perfect. But I really enjoy the story that you told about the Michelin 5-star restaurant, because a lot of people, like you said, 22 years of age, he's not capable, he's not ready, he shouldn't be, there's a lot of negative things said about being so young and being able to achieve so much and be so successful. But I want you to backtrack a little bit and just give us the scope of what that experience was like. Like, was it stressful? Was it a lot of pressure on you to perform when you were in that managerial role? Or tell us a little bit about how you were able to maintain such peak performance at I guess we're going to go with the word young. We'll go with at a young age, for the sake of the conversation. Yeah. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. It wasn't stressful because I have the kind of personality that I thrive under pressure. So I thrive in uncomfortable situations, and I always want to do something that helps me grow. I've always been like that. If something is new, is exciting, and I love it, I'm 100% in. If something I don't like it, not even slightly like it, there is no way I even gonna do it. I'm not even gonna touch it. That was the case with mathematics.
Well, me too. Yeah, I understand.
So when I was working, when I found my first job in restaurants, it was the first time that actually I was getting paid to talk to people. And as you notice, I love talking.
Yeah.
So all my school's teacher was telling me, "Oh, Simone, stop talking. Shut up. You can talk even with the wall." And there I was at 14, basically being a waiter is talking to people and make them feel good. That's what great managers and great waiters do. And first of all, you do it with a client, and then when you go to a managerial level, you do it with a client and with your staff. But you make them feel good about themselves, and you make them feel good about being there and the experience that they are having. And I can say that period was my very first public speaking training that I reflect back, because it was all about talking to a group of multiple people. And sometimes I had to take orders of tables of 50, 60 people just by myself. And when you have to take an order for 50, 60 people, there are a few skills there. One is that you need to grab the attention of everyone so then they don't talk over you. And then also you need to persuade them in not ordering all different things, because otherwise the kitchen will not be able to support that, and all the restaurant will be blocked at that point. So there is also persuasion and influence techniques that we were learning to get people to order more or less the same thing and be happy about that.
Yeah, exactly.
that didn't feel forced.
Exactly.
On them.
Yeah, well, that to me that sounds like excellent communication skills. I'll attribute all of that to just having excellent communication skills, which obviously you definitely have. So, what were some of the lessons that you were able to carry over from that position? Now you're transitioning into, like from the high-profile restaurant, and you're going into launching your own company. So, what lessons were you able to bring?
Absolutely. One is that nothing happens if you stand still. So that was the very first lesson. By the age of 22, I've worked already in about 250 different restaurants, because I wanted to experience different styles, and I was working with different agencies, and every night I was working at a different restaurant to learn and meet new people. So that was one thing. I was always on the road. Other thing that I've learned is that if you want to receive, you got to give first. There are a lot of people that feel entitled to success, or they just think that everything is going to come if they just do a bit of work. I did a lot of shifts that were not paid just because I wanted to learn or work in a different environment or meet some people, and I would be happily work 12 hours for no pay just because of that. So there is value in free. There is value in giving yourself. There is value in putting the work in to become the best. So these were a few things. Another thing that I've learned is about making people feel good. Because if someone feels good about themselves, and you make them feel good about themselves, then they're going to respect you. They're going to like you. And then in a business scenario, then they're going to buy from you. If you make people feel bad about themselves, then it doesn't really work. And then one more lesson that I got was the fact that it's all about talking to new people. Because when I was working in a restaurant, we were always thinking about how can we get new customers in? How can we get more people coming to the events that we are running? How can we get more people coming to the special dinner that we are doing? What kind of special offer can we put in place? And that was a great training for me on sales. And it made me understand that it's a number game. The more people come through the door, the more money you make. It's simple.
Yeah, makes sense.
If you have no one coming through the door, you make no money.
No money, right.
So, what you need to do first is getting people come through the door, no matter what business you're running.
Exactly.
So that were
first step.
I've learned.
Perfect. Yeah. And what were some of the challenges that you faced just kind of starting GTEX and getting things off the ground?
Everything was a challenge and an opportunity at the same time. I think that everything, particularly at the beginning, is a challenge, because you don't know if you never run a business before. Like myself, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was on the other side. And fortunately, I had great people and great mentors around me, but at the same time, it was still my learning experience. And was still think that one thing is just to say to a mentor telling you, mind that this can happen, but then when it happens, you have to deal with it. So that's a different thing, studying in a book or hearing it from someone else. So definitely understanding how to package my services and products and services and how to get clients. That was very difficult at the beginning, and it was very frustrating because I was able to make so much money for the restaurant owners when people were coming to the restaurant, but I was really struggling to get some clients. And I was shocked and frustrated, and I understood that it was just completely different way of selling. And then another time is to being able to have a clear strategy around the company, because at the beginning we were doing everything and anything. So it felt like there were never enough hours in the day. And I think that when you're running a company, it always feels there are never enough hours in the day, and there are never enough staff members.
Exactly.
Even now that I have 12 people working with us, but that was defining the focus and the clarity, and keeping that focus and the clarity, and understanding what is a distraction and what is an opportunity. That was very challenging.
Yeah.
And also when the time where you have no money at all, and you get the rent.
Yeah,
you need to
yeah,
pay
that's
the rent.
a big issue. Yeah.
And the bills coming in, and you find yourself at 5 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, opening all the drawers that you have to find to see how many small coins you have. You can put together so that you can take the bus to go to work the next day.
Yeah.
It happened once that I became homeless for 6 months. That was a very interesting period of my life, because the business wasn't working that much. I wasn't getting enough clients, but I still have some money left. But my grandfather died in Italy, and I was already living in the UK, because I moved to the UK when I was 20. And my mom was in Italy, and she had a very stronger relationship with my grandfather, very strong relationship. And at that point, because my mom wasn't happy at all that I moved to the UK, I haven't been talking to my mom for about 3 years at this point. Yeah, I don't know. Italian moms are like this. They're very protective.
Exactly. Yeah, I know what you mean.
And well, here is completely different. Here's like, okay, you're 18, you're living by yourself now. Generally, in Italy, people live with their parents up until they're 30, 35. When I was 18, I was like, bye.
Yeah, you bounce. Yeah.
I'm out of it. When I moved country, my mom wasn't that impressed, and so she stopped talking to me for a while. But at the time, I went through all this personal development growth, and I said, well, if I'm not able to practice this or to sort out the situation with my mom, all this money and all this time that I spend becoming a better person is useless. It's not even worth it. And so I made myself homeless so I could fly to Italy for back and forth for 6 months, because I was still doing my courses to become a life coach here in London. So I knew my mom needed my help, so I was living 2 weeks in Italy and then come back in London for 2 weeks to do the courses every month for about 6 months. And I had just money to pay my flights and to pay food. And at the same time, I didn't want to tell my mom that was my situation, because that was unpredictable. That was not predicted. And so I, at that point, said, okay, well, that's what I got to do. So I was living on the street, and I took it as an adventure.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an awesome adventure, because I've learned how to live with nothing. And I think that when someone learns how to live with nothing, then first of all, you value everything that you have. And I started valuing more everything that I had. And also, it made me bulletproof, because I was like, okay, worst case scenario, even if everything goes up in the air, I know I can sort this out.
You can manage, yeah.
Now I can live.
Exactly. Yeah. And to me, it definitely sounds like you took a chance on yourself. And I think that by sacrificing, like you said, you were homeless, kind of by choice. Is that accurate? Like you just kind of chose to...
Absolutely, because I could come back to it. I mean, with my curriculum, with my CV, I could go back into a job anytime I wanted, and very high pay. So, but at the same time, I wanted to keep on track of the studies that I was doing, and I couldn't do it if I was working full time or part time. At the same time, I couldn't even have a job or a part time role, because I wanted to go back and stay with my mom for this period of time. So it was absolutely by choice.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I mean, when you kind of reflect on that, you see how that was like a crucial part of you kind of creating the life that you wanted. And I think that a lot of people kind of give up on their dreams or their visions or whatever it is goal-wise that they may have envisioned for themselves. Like, why do you think so many of us, kind of give up at a certain point when things are not happening as quickly as we'd like them to?
I think it's because of unrealistic expectations first. We fall in love with the results without falling in love with the journey. And that's, I think, the biggest problem. While results can happen, results are always a big X, while the journey happens.
Exactly, yeah.
And
whether you want it to or not.
The journey Absolutely. You can adjust the journey to make the results happen. And I think that if someone falls in love with the journey and sees everything that happened as an adventure, as an opportunity to become a better person. And I understand that there are things that it requires a lot of personal strength, personal power to reframe them and to have the strength necessary to then keep going. Then that's what makes the difference between someone who is going and keeps going no matter what, and someone who is stopping. And at the same time, for everyone, is about also finding that balance, because you have some things that really knock your teeth out. And when you have those things, it's good to take some time for yourself to recharge your batteries, because I've been to the place where there were a lot of great, very heavy things that were happening to me, and I just kept going, ignoring them. And that came out even worse years later. And so right now, if I got something that I know is very emotionally draining, taking a couple of days to myself to heal that, so then I can be more effective and I can come back stronger than before, but allowing the time to heal the wound.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. And I know that is crucial for you to be able to do, because you kind of need that energy and able to kind of coach and do your speaking engagements and other things that you have lined up. So what do you enjoy most about helping people get to the next level and maximizing their potential? And then also too, kind of take us into some of the things that you cover with your coaching programs and even in some of the live speaking events that you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of what excites me the most, answering the first question, which was what excites me the most about the results today and the work that we do with our clients, is seeing them growing. Is the growth process. Even less the results. If they get the results, also, I'm really happy. But I put more importance in the process than in the results. Because it's the process that makes you a better person. It's the process that makes you a better human being or a better business person that then gives you the results that you want. So when someone is growing through that process and I'm seeing their challenges and seeing how they're going through it, and I'm seeing then the first little results that they get, no matter how small or how big that is, that's what excites me the most. As long as I see my clients growing and my clients moving forward and they're being proactive rather than reactive and creating solutions rather than focusing on problems, that's what makes me say, wow, I really love what I do. And we mentor thousands of people every year. We have thousands of people that come through our events every single year. And this, even in a period of a 3-day, we're on a 3-day course where we help them to refine their business model, create their signature program, and then launch it. So they actually launch everything on day 3. It's called Explode Your Expert Business Intensive. The growth process that I see when we're running these intensive workshops or retreat is insane, because we create very intense environment. Like, you come to us, you work. There is not much dancing around, not much clapping. You're coming here to work.
Yeah.
And you keep working even when your brain tells you, I don't want to work anymore. So we are like this as a company, and in fact, we are not for everyone. But when we are doing this kind of training and we are seeing so many results happening in such a short period of time, so much growth happening in such a short period of time, and so much progress happening in such a short period of time, then all the participants makes them believe that they don't need to wait years to make something happen. That done is better, way better than perfect. And you start by doing something and you launch what you have. Awesome. There is always a version 2, version 3, version 4, version 5, version 10. Everything is always a work in progress, but you can never launch something if you're always looking for the perfect product or the perfect service or the perfect branding or the perfect website. My first website sucked. And I spent
7
months building it myself. So it's like,
oh, wow. I tell you what, I mean, did you kind of fall into that trap of thinking that you could do it yourself? Trying to save a couple of dollars, and it ended up taking the better part of almost a year trying to get it done, and it's still not meet your expectations. That's got to be worse than having to shell out a couple of dollars to just pay for it from the jump. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it happens to everyone, because we think as entrepreneurs that we are superheroes.
Exactly. Yeah.
We can handle everything, and this is a challenge for me. So we are able, as entrepreneurs, we are great at justifying everything. We can justify everything we want. And we see, I need to build a website, but this is a challenge to help me grow. No, this is just wasting your time.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, you are absolutely right. And I know that we were talking about earlier, like the mentors and just kind of using the different resources to kind of help grow and get our businesses and stuff like that underway. But aside from the stuff that we need, in order to put a business together, like you also have to have the interest. You also have to have the passion, the enthusiasm, the energy. And that's one thing that I really kind of take away from what you're doing is because you have those for the work that you're doing. Like even when you're on stage, you're entertaining people in addition to sharing the information, right? So tell us a little bit about like how important is it for you to create your own style? You're coming up with your own speaking style, your own way to engage the audience. You have your own programs. How important is that?
It's crucial, not just for me, but for everyone. When you are on stage, because before there were not many speakers or not many trainers. If you're talking about our industry, there were very few people. And then social media exploded and suddenly everyone is a speaker.
Yeah.
Suddenly everyone
exactly.
Suddenly everyone is a trainer. Most of them are unemployed. They just call themselves like that. And I was one of them, so I can understand.
Hey.
The thing is that because there is so much noise and so much choice for people that every third person they know is a bloody coach, then how do you stand out? How do you make yourself more attractive? And that's where your signature style comes in. And that's why it's so important. I think that the best investment that I've made in terms of business courses, anything, was $30,000 for a speaking training. I went to the best speaking training I could find. It was expensive. Yes, I had $400 in this case pound, but £400 in my bank account. I negotiated an incredibly long payment plan. I paid it off, and that was the very best thing I've ever done because he got me comfortable on stage. It got me to understand my style. It got me to stand out, and it got me to grow really quickly. And so in a few years, I was able to make really good money. Actually, within 3 years, I was able to really make some really good money as a speaker. And the more you stand out, the more people are going to come to you. That's why I'm a musician and I'm a basketball player. These are two things that are part of my life and are part of my essence. Musician, I play the didgeridoo, which is a very interesting instrument, not very common. It's an Australian Aboriginal instrument, and I can beatbox, so I can do beatboxing with the didgeridoo. And every time I go on stage, that's how I open every single talk I do. I'm there with the didgeridoo, I beatbox with the didgeridoo, and then I'm linking that with a message that I want to give to the audience, depending on the talk. So where people, when every other speakers will come in and they will say, "Hi, my name is Johnny," I start, "Let me beatbox with you the didgeridoo." Who they're going to remember?
Exactly. I have to share this really quick. To be honest, I'm not familiar with that particular instrument. So when I was like kind of going over like some of the, your videos and read the bio, it's like, oh yeah, I love basketball and the didgeridoo. I'm like, okay, what is that? And then when you had it on stage, right, this big long like flute looking deal, I thought that maybe, okay, he's joking. Maybe this is, some type of comedy act. He's not really going to play the didgeridoo, right? And then you go into this full beatbox skit and all this other stuff. It was just hilarious. At one point, I think you had it was called it's a video where you played it. A guy came up on stage with you. He was dancing. And it was hilarious. But yeah, I was like,
that was a very old video of a conference with young people.
Oh, so bad. I was like, Simone, what is this didgeridoo deal? Like, this is such a wild instrument. And then for anybody to be able to play because it looks so bizarre, right? But you said something like, hey, this is how such and such plays the didgeridoo, which was like a standard, regular style. And then you to kind of come up and do your beatbox. It was phenomenal. So yeah, I was like, I have got to ask Simone about this didgeridoo and try to figure out if this is an icebreaker for his live events.
Absolutely, it's part of my signature now, and people know me as the Italian speaker with the didgeridoo.
Yeah,
I'm Italian originally, so they might not even remember what you say. Particularly if there is an event when there are multiple speakers, it's very difficult for the audience to remember what you say. But they will remember something that you do, or they will remember something particular that you wear. They will remember maybe something that you say in a way because of the way you said it. And these are the things that you want to be conscious of if you want to really stand out as a speaker and make a name for yourself. And always think about what makes me unique. I was was interviewing a podcast just a few hours ago for another show. And the woman running the podcast, she's a magician and she's a speaker as well. This is awesome. So whatever skill that you have that you can bring to the table that makes you stand out. Got another friend who does martial arts. So he started his set with like a martial art, crazy style of punches and kicks and high kicks and jumps. Beat that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That is, I tell you what, you talking about a signature style. That is, I think that'll get it. I think that'll do it. But we definitely, I mean, I love the fact that you have kind of incorporated that into your engagement. Because like you said, I mean, if I don't remember anything else, I'm going to remember the way that instrument kind of looked and especially the beatboxing. I mean, that was just kind of off the chart. So big ups for that. And before we wrap up, Simone, I would like to ask you to leave us with some advice just general advice for those who are looking to become like a speaker or a personal development coach.
Yeah, absolutely. So if someone is looking to become a speaker or a personal development coach, whatever training you're doing, biggest piece of advice that I can give you is to build your expertise and to prove that you are the walking, living, breathing embodiment of what you do. Because just because you attend the 2-day seminar for free and not a fake diploma, that doesn't make you an expert in your field. Expertise is built with time. So don't be afraid to put hours in. Do hundreds of sessions for free if you need to prove, to get the right testimonial, to build the right expertise. Because you want to make sure that when the right client comes in, you can tick all the boxes for them to say, yes, I want to work with you because I trust you. That's the first biggest piece of advice. And the second biggest piece of advice that I can give is always to have to know your business model. Because speaking, you can do it for a hobby, as an hobby, and that's awesome. You just need to have a talk. But if you want to become a professional speaker and to build a professional coaching or speaking business, then that's a business. That's an entire business model, which having a talk is a small part of it. So educate yourself, learn about how to build a speaking business, how to build a coaching business, what kind of products and services you create, ways to market yourself, how to get on PR, how to get on media. And I understand that's overwhelming, but it's also what you have to do to create sustainability. I'm not talking about one client here and there. You can get one client here and there, even if you don't know anyone. Might have a friend of a friend of a friend that knows a friend of a friend that might recommend a friend of a friend. So those situations always happen. But if you want to create something sustainable, be here for the long run, fall in love with the journey, and treat your business like a proper business, and you will make it.
You will make it perfect. All right. I am so happy and excited to have had you here today, Simone. Before we close, go ahead and let us know where we can find you online. Website, information on GTEX, if you have any upcoming events, engagements, all of that other good stuff. Go ahead and leave that for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot. So the website where you can find everything is www.gtex.org.uk. So www.gtex.org.uk. One more time, www.gtex.org.uk. And I've got something special for you if you are a speaker, and in particular you want to learn how to create presentations that sell. I've created a checklist that I use every time for myself, and initially I created it for myself because I needed a way to structure the talk and structure the call to action and get people to buy that was predictable every single time. So I decided also to give this checklist away for free for everyone who wants to build this kind of talks, or maybe refine the talks that is already existing to help them convert more. And you can find it on the very front of the website. And also, if you that's completely for free. And also, if you're a speaker and you want to have a chat to see how we can work together and how we can help you build a speaking empire, then you can find a form on the website in the contact us session where you can fill up a short application, and then we can have a chat and see how we can work together.
Perfect. Sounds good, Simone. So you guys heard it. If you would like to speak to Simone, which I highly recommend, this guy knows what he's doing, and just love his energy. But yeah, we definitely thank you for being on the show, and we will be keeping up with all the wonderful things that you're doing going forward. Thanks so much, Simone. You have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out with us here on SOB. We hope this episode has been resourceful. If you'd like to check out the latest articles or follow Keetra's website updates, just log on to Keetra.com or follow her on Twitter at KEETRIA.